So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our weekly Q&A video, and let's get started with it. What else am I supposed to say here? So, the very first question comes from Carol C. How and where to see when a second marriage will take place in the birth chart? It is very simple, and I'm not going to talk about certain regulations put out that second marriage has to be seen from second or eighth house or third or ninth house. I'm only going to speak to you from the experience of what I have seen. Is that marriage take place when the marriage timing comes? Is that simple? Because if I'm looking at your second marriage from second house and eighth house, and some say third house and ninth house, okay, well, what if their periods isn't running for the next 15 years? Does that mean you're going to have to wait 15 years till that period comes for you to get married? No, because I have seen people who got married for the third time and they gave me their first two times. And I'm like, of course, the way the marriage timing is seen is how one will get married, which is either a person has to go through the period of the seventh house, seventh house, 12th house, 4th house, Jupiter, Venus, Dharakarka, planet with the lowest degree that signifies marriage. Okay. And even the 5th house of romance becomes quite integrated with this marriage, especially in new culture where, or in certain countries where arranged marriage, is not to be found. And so once you look at this and if they match in the Navamsha, like for example, you're going for your second marriage and simply your Rahu Saturn period comes in, and Rahu Saturn are both conjunct in Navamsha. And then you see the fact that Jupiter and Saturn transit either affects your 7th house, 7th lord, Venus, Dharakarka, 12th house, or Padha of the 12th house. Even Padha of the 7th house, marriage occurs. And again, the period of marriage should be confirmed with 3 definite dashas, which is Vimshotri Dasha, Chara Dasha, and Yogini Dasha. All 3, when they simultaneously say that, okay, a unionship and certification of unionship needs to take place here, it takes place there. Okay. And this is something that I've also noticed, that when you're, let's say, married, you're happily married, and then certain timing comes in that signifies a marriage. What usually happens is either a person finds a promotion, a new job opportunity, a new partnership, or the person with their spouse engages in some new activity. Like me and my wife and I want to purchase a home. Well, besides the timing that we need to see for the home, we see that things related to marriage and home should be taking place. So that's how you really simply just has to understand. And this is something just from the experience and not by the rule book. Then is from Shaquille Clark. Please break down the chart of classical albums like Thriller, Purple Rain, and Sgt. Pepper. You know what? My bad. I forgot to look at the charts for this question. So I will probably do that maybe by end of this, because I knew I wanted to look at that as well. Then there's Raziel 3. You often say planets, even Jupiter, feel kind of lost in a deep ocean of Pisces. Are there situations that they would do good in Pisces? Of course. Any time with Pisces you go towards abstract field, abstract career, abstract way of living, that's where it makes you feel like, oh, things are, making sense. Because Pisces, yes, it is that one sign that, especially when you get cluster of planets, it the person does feel like in the deep waters, like absolute questions. Who am I? Why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? I'm confused. Should I just keep doing this or should I keep doing that? And even when you tell that individual, no, this is what the chart is saying, they'll still feel that confusion. It's like you're trying to tell someone, look at the mountain, how beautiful the mountain is, when they're in a deep water. They are supposed to look up and look somewhere, right? And you can't, because it is water. So Pisces is this one sign that it helps you when you kind of create the space in deep water. That's how it is. But if, let's say, a Pisces individual, even if they're scientists, unless they can use their abstract imagination and unusual way of coming to a certain conclusion, they will feel cheated in their ability to work. If you just gave them too much logic to deal with, it's not going to work that way. Okay? So then, the next question is from Arshi Rastogi. How do you see someone becoming a chef astrologically? And this is something actually I have looked into quite a bit. Whenever you have nakshatra of Kritika, Vishaka, and Pushya, and Chitra, these four nakshatra associated, either with your Dharma Lord, Artha Lord, 10th Lord, Dharakarka, and Atmakarka, these combinations have been found in people who love to become chefs. And in order to become a chef, so forget the food part. We know chef is food and everybody eats food. It's not like, oh, you must enjoy food. No, first of all, the skills have to come in. First of all, the love of food has to come in. And love of food will really come from the nakshatras that I just told you, including the sign of Taurus and Rahu. There's this obsession towards something. So some people have that obsession towards food. Like, I love food. And then slowly, they're like, how did you cook this? I want to know how to make this because I love this food so much. Now, when you say make, how do you make that food? Now we're looking at the third house. Not even you are trying to somehow activate that third house of skills, artistic skills, creative skills. Being a chef is not a mathematical skill, it's a creative skill. Some chefs just blindly will take, a certain spice. And I don't know if you've seen these videos, people just blindfoldly making food as long as they know where the ingredients are. They know that they are supposed to, with their index and their middle finger and thumb, pick a certain amount, put it in there. Pick this, put it in there. Pick that, put it in there. Like, if you watch this guy is making like omelet in an Indian street food video. And the speed that this person makes food without looking, just like putting things. So the skills comes into play. You have to have those skills. And then you have to have combinations that signify your interest towards hospitality, meaning to serve people, to nourish people. So if your Dharma Lord, which represents the path of the soul, what the soul is here to do, what the soul is here to achieve, and then the Artha Lord, which represents how that sustenance comes in. Then you also look at the Kama Lord, the desire. what is the person's desire. And when you mix those things, you can see that this person needs to do something technically creative. And then when you see those nakshatras, you will see them present in most of the, at least all the horoscopes that I've seen of chefs, they were present. Okay. Then, Denise, where do I look for my soul purpose? We honor our ancestors. Okay, how do we connect with our higher self? How do we honor our ancestors? Okay, so there are several soul purposes. Okay, so it's not just one thing that a soul is here to kind of accomplish. There are many things, thousands of things. But I can see what you are saying, that what is my soul purpose, and that is then seeing through your Atma Karka, planet with the highest degree. Again, going back to the analogy of Dharma Lord, looking at the Dharma Lord in the house, Artha Lord in the house. So it's not like just one thing and that's it. It is different things. And then you have, especially in the chart, your destiny point, and you also have Pranapadha. Actually, Pranapadha, I found it even more infused into a person's psyche more than even the destiny point. Destiny point is that something that is to happen. You can't control it. It's the Prarabdha. Pranapada shows, Pranapada is the life force. Like without it, you don't feel alive. You don't feel like, this is me, this is who I am. So whomever chart I see, they're always leaning towards their Pranapada. It's a PR symbol, especially when you get my report, from my website. You will see the PR symbol in the chart. That is the Pranapada. Its sign placements and nakshatra placement shows how does this prana comes about. What activity will make this person feel alive? And that is kind of related to our purpose, right? When we find our purpose, we feel alive. Okay. Then, Aurelia Orita. What happens when your Dhara Karka is Saturn? Being the 5th and 6th Lord, house Lord, and situated in your 6th house. So, first of all, when Saturn becomes the Dhara Karka, it clearly shows duty, commitment, and sacrifice to be made in your marriage. Regardless of what your gender is, what you're expecting from marriage, you are going to have to sacrifice something. And the duty is going to ask you to perform something, whether you like it or not. And you're going to have a commitment. Automatically, somehow, Saturn is going to make you make a commitment to that marriage. You will, like especially you will notice with Saturn as a Dhara Karka, the person just automatically feels bound by that marriage. No matter what, they just cannot and do not want to leave it. In your case, Saturn in the 6th house, as a 5th and 6th Lord, so you're a Virgo ascendant, it shows, first of all, Saturn is a mixed result giving planet. But in the 6th house, it does excellent. Saturn, 6th house is one of the best placements for Saturn. And so what this shows is that with marriage, first of all, you will become a workaholic. Also shows your spouse is going to help you to pay your debts off. Spouse is also going to be committed towards improving your health. And we can see a lot more by seeing the nakshatra and which padha, Saturn would be in. So we can go deeper, and usually a person will always attract either a mature spouse or older spouse. Meaning the spouse will, even if the spouse is 10 years younger in age with you, they will behave like that they're older in age with you. They're not going to want to listen to you. They're going to want to give the, advice in the order. Okay. Then Dr. Gurva Singh. Oh, Dr. Gaurav Singh. Sorry. How to see a D4 chart for properties aboard in the role of sixth house. Okay, so D4 chart, very simple. So if you want to know, first of all, if you want to even, first thing we have to determine, is this person able to get a property? And the way to do that is you want to see the birth and the dasa, or the, what is this called? It's not Dwada Samsha. I forgot the name. That is so weird. Okay, D4 chart of property. Okay. The first thing you want to see the strength of the fourth house is fourth house and fourth lord. Is the fourth lord creating some kind of a Raj Yoga or Dhan Yoga? Being in a trinal or quadrant place. And it also shows is the timing to attain a house coming up, which will again be seen through the fourth house, fourth lord, Mars, Moon, and Matrikarka planet with the fourth highest degree. Then you kind of look at those in the D4 chart. And in the D4 chart, I think it's Chaturvasamsa or Chaturtatamsa, one of those. But in that chart, you want to see, again, where are those planets placed? Is one able to attain the property in the tower? Or they're going to get a lot of obstacles. And you also want to see in the birth chart too, is the obstacles going to come? And then the transit of Jupiter and Saturn and transit of Mars has to be seen. They must either aspect the fourth house, fourth lord, okay, Mars, Moon, the ascendant of your D4 chart in order to finalize. And especially also in the fourth house, you want to see that. Then sixth house naturally of the D4 will represent obstacles and objection and obstruction related to your fixed assets. And sixth house also represents loans. So your ability to get a loan for the property. Again, it's all like, I'm just talking about a couple of pieces of puzzle, but you got to look at it all together. That's how it is. Then, Open Rose asks, are we in Age of Aquarius according to Vedic astrology? And can you describe what the New Age indicates from my perspective? So I've actually looked into this. They said that the Age of Aquarius will not be here for at least until middle of 2100 to the to the beginning of 2200. That's when it'll really, really start. Per the sidereal, axis. And Age of Aquarius is the age of the highest of scientific technologies. It is the highest of bringing a huge group of people together into one bundle, where they're just like one form of thinking. And they're just pouring off knowledge that is accelerated to a level that humans haven't seen for a long time. And then there's other things as well, which are a little bit controversial to even discuss. Then Aditya Joshi, does gemstone therapy really work? If yes, then how? Gemstone therapy, the only thing I can say from that is it's regarding the chakras and your spiritual progress. Gemstones are really more for spiritual progress than, wear this stone to get a job or to get this or to get that. No, it's not the external, it's the internal. So like, for example, if you want to wear, a red coral, and at the same time you are doing your meditation, proper meditation related to activating your Muladhara chakra, it will help in that process. But other than that, I can't really say what gemstones are doing. I can't. If I find more information, I'll definitely answer that in the future. Okay, so then it's mixed buzz. Which planetary combination indicates a long-term relationship converting into marriage? Well, long-term relationship is always connected with Saturn. It is the urja of Saturn. It is the blessings of Saturn. So especially when Saturn influences either the seventh house, seventh lord, Venus, or the Dharakarka, or it's like I was saying, it's the Dharakarka itself. It will always signify a bondage and a binding and a unionship for a long term, whether you like it or not. And of course, you shouldn't have yogas for divorces. Okay, which would be existing in birth and Navamsha both. Then Gauri Wayne Ware, which is important, the ascendant chart versus moon chart for prediction of transit. Number one, always look at the ascendant, because that is where the karma is being unfolded. That is where the gifts that are supposed to come and the misfortunes that are supposed to come from a conveyor belt that are coming. Like when you're at the airport and when you're waiting for your baggage, and from that little tunnel, the baggage comes down. That is the ascendant. Okay. Moon chart also is used because moon controls the record of our past life. So how we react to a certain transit. Okay, how does that transit mentally affects us is then seen from the moon. But again, even from the moon, you can even see the physical results if you want to. But Saturn or the ascendant is where you really always want to look at it first. Then Nika Bora, you never take my questions. That's not true. I just took your question. Capricorn ascendant with 5 planets: Jupiter, Sun, Ketu, Moon, Mercury. Increasing degree order, in the 7th house. Lagna Lord in 12th house. Okay, so cluster of planets are in the 7th house, which first of all shows both you and your spouse are going to be emotionally charged. Both of you will play these psychological warfare mind games with each other. Both of you will be extremely moody. And it's something that you enjoy, because when you get mad and ticked off at some small thing, you want the other person to come running to you and nourish you. Like, oh no, I'm sorry. But the behavior of the spouse is going to be the same way, that you say something and boom, they're ticked off, and now they're waiting for you to come and to, console them, make things better with them. But becomes a very heavy energy of relationship and marriage. Because on one hand, and one thing I can definitely say is that whomever you are with, they're going to be coming from a faraway place to meet you and to be with you. It also shows that your spouse would have a bit of a plump body, round face, and they will have a broad forehead. And especially, you said which planets? You said Jupiter, Sun, Ketu, Moon, Mercury. Oh, okay. They will be fully immersed into political views. Politics becomes and patriotism becomes a very important part of their life. But again, with Jupiter and Sun in the seventh, I mean, boy, you can attract very dominating individuals in your life. People who just cannot take the fact that you made a decision even after what they said. Okay. But now, and I know I was supposed to look at the breakdown of those three albums. So what I'll do is I'll use this next week. I'll research because I can't just go in 5 minutes because it'll take me then 30 minutes to look at all three albums and see what was happening. So next week I'll use that particular question. But anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this Q&A. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. If you don't know where your planetary placements are, all your nakshatra placements, everything, pranapada, check out the links here under shop section. Otherwise, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.